Good evening, Midnight Movie lovers. I'm Max. But you probably already know that, unless you've been cryogenically frozen for the last 6 months. Or you've fallen through a glitch in the time-space continuum. Or you're an alien who doesn't know how to use an internet translator. But you already know me by now. I mean, come on. This, ladies and gentlemen, and strange genderless creatures from Proxima Centauri, is the final episode of the season. So we decided to end in style with an Igor Award special. This means a long, loving look at the movies we love to like and the movies we love to hate. The categories and winners have been selected by a group of experts, who I then completely ignore. This is so that I personally can choose the ones that I like best. Well, Midnight Movie Lovers has been quite a season, so let's get started.
Voyages to the unknown depths of outer space. This is Cosmos, War of the Planets. As you may recall, it was made in 1977, the year of disco, punk rock, and, of course, the first Star Wars. Fantastico! Miracoloso! I mean, if it helps. Anyway, this is the beginning of the movie when the captain and the crew of the charismatically named spaceship, the MK-31, mistake a refraction of the cataclysmic cosmic event a long time ago for something happening right now. What the hell am I talking about? Strange encounters with seductive but extremely dangerous creatures, such as in Night Tide, which starred a very young and very handsome Dennis Hopper, and one very determined and tenacious and really rather beautiful creature, especially if you happen to fancy giant squid. Laughter, laughter, laughter such as you've never experienced before. In this touching family drama from another dimension, Santa Claus is kidnapped by Martians so that he can teach the children of Mars how to laugh again. Yeah, what is the other guy like? The idiot cousin or something?
They're laughing. Boma and Germa, too.
They've never laughed before.
Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick. Visions of the future. In this 1936 film, Things to Come.
All of these movies are Igor Award worthy. Now, over the last 26 episodes, we've covered everything from the first zombie movies to the most unconvincing monster costumes. But admittedly, I'm partial to aliens. And one film that we didn't give enough love to is 1954's Killers from Space.
Yes, this is pretty standard for an Astron Delta surgical procedure back in 1954. What?
What happened? What is this place? Who are you? What are you doing to me? Can't you speak? Who are you?
Well, it might look to some viewers like a non-standard illegal operation. As we all know, a standard illegal operation is what your computer at home tells you when you try to save a PDF as an audio file or something. Anyway, as you can plainly see, the alien surgical team have just given this guy a new heart. He's a test pilot for the U.S. Air Force, kidnapped by aliens from the planet Unfeasible. After his plane crashed on a test flight, the aliens brought him back to life because they need his help tapping nuclear power from the U.S. Air Force Base. It's all a part of their diabolical plan to take over the Earth. I think we might even allow ourselves a brief
Dr. Martin, I see you are quite well. You have recovered from your unfortunate accident.
Who are you?
Weren't you listening? He's an out-of-work Muppet.
Where do you come from?
From a planet, yet unknown to you.
You know my name. You speak English.
We speak every language.
How typical and how convenient.
I'm getting out of here.
Stay where you are.
Yeah, dude, stay where you are, or I'll activate my total credibility suspension device, the one that makes the cool buzzing noise. Bzzz. for best reaction to being zapped by a laser beam of any movie of all time.
Who are you?
I have already told you that.
How did you get here?
He's very good at asking that question. It's getting better and better with each asking.
Here. In our machine's magnetic...
Oh, yeah, this is his website.
Electron bridge we have created.
Electron bridge?
Didn't you hear me? The electron bridge.
You mean you come and go just like that?
Yep, just
Without anyone ever
like
seeing
that.
Our
Flick of the fingers
ship has
and
been
we're in another dimension.
by your people.
Then why haven't we been able to track one down?
We have a warning system similar to your primitive radar.
Yeah, similar to
Our
your
machine
primitive radar, except that it doesn't
Course at
suck.
the mere approach of a pursuing object.
Let's say I do believe you. Where are we right now?
In a cavern within the upper crust of the earth.
How long have you been here?
Since the beginning of your experiments in nuclear fission,
What have you got to do with that?
we are accumulating the energy released with each of your atomic explosions. One moment.
Now look, it's a fax. Must be from the boys down at the lab.
No, here, here. No, here. I let it. No, Nino. Nino. Never, Nino. Yeah, read it. Yes, Nino. Yeah, Nino. What was that?
A report from the monitor we sent to the surface to obtain the results of your last nuclear test.
Results? They'll take days to analyze and compute.
I think you will find these figures are correct.
Yeah. Huh. Looks pretty accurate to me, except, of course, that Q to the power of 9 over V over 8 should be an F squared over 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Anyway, to cut a very long story very, very short, Phelps, the gung-ho young scientist, manages to escape and heads for the local power station, convinced that switching off the power at the nuclear bomb testing site will trigger a nuclear explosion at a place called Soledad Flats. That's where all the scheming, bug-eyed aliens have been hanging out, you see, and they already figure him for dead. And there you have it. An atomic mushroom cloud as seen through a lovely new set of Venetian blinds.
Blew them to pieces.
A happy ending with nuclear explosion. What kind of weird and twisted Cold War propaganda is that?
Utterly bizarre, even by my standards, and what a fantastic time capsule. For its ping-pong eyeballs and leotard with belt style, Killers from Space takes home the Igor Award for the best costume in a tacky science fiction movie. We're contacting the costume designers in the spirit world as we speak. But now, it's time to add some sexy sizzle to the show. And what better way to do that than with Rosalba Neri as Lady Tanya Frankenstein? As we saw in episode 2, Rosalba Neri was also the winner of the Igor Award for Best Daughter of Frankenstein. Let's see why.
Now get this for a plotline, ladies and gentlemen. The middle-aged cat with the chrome dome is Charles, former assistant of the late Baron Frankenstein, who was Lady Tanya Frankenstein's father. This is her, obviously, Lady Frankenstein of the film's title. So in love with Tanya is Charles that he is willing to have his brain transplanted into the head of Thomas. And who's Thomas? Well, he's the handsome but not very clever stable boy. It's right at this point, as Lady Frankenstein seems ready to carry out another illegal operation, and the final masterstroke of her diabolical scheme. But suddenly, the film makes a strange lurch in continuity.
I'm trying to find your father's murder, Miss.
We have to take the doorbell as Reed and assume that the dude pouring tea waited while Tanya changed her outfit and started a fire.
You're right.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, actress Rosalba Neri. Isn't she
I've been
magnificent?
up all night with my husband.
Well, then he's seriously ill.
It could be. He's resting now, and after my breakfast, so will I. Have you made any progress, Captain?
Not much, but the murderer has. 2 more men have been killed. Jim Turner and Bill Jessup.
Jim Turner?
Oh,
Bill
you
Jessup,
they're not
those are a
exactly
couple
the
of
kind
good old boys from Tennessee we found wandering around the backwoods here in Transylvania. Yeah, back at the lab. And what's on the slab? Oh, that's right. A brain transplant from homely-looking Charles to hunky-looking Thomas.
Everything is ready, my darling. Do not be afraid. Soon we'll be together again.
In case you aren't sure, that isn't Charles she's kissing, but Thomas, the simple-minded but studly stable boy whose head will soon be filled with Charles's brains. Now, isn't that special? That's the spirit, Tanya. After all, just about any decent midnight movie scientific experiment begins when someone pulls a few levers. And seldom have they been pulled more elegantly than by the seductive actress playing Tanya Frankenstein, the 70s horror and pulp cinema queen, Rosalba Neri. All right, now shake it and shake it, shake and bake it. Shake it and shake it, bake it, baby. Now, once again, that's what I call acting. Midnight movie acting, anyway. What a woman. So you'd wake up to find you'd had body parts reassembled after a night with her, but I reckon it'd almost be worth it.
I can't hear you, darling. I can't.
That's because I didn't say anything. Do we always have to talk so much about our feelings?
You're alive.
It's alive! Alive!
I'm here.
Like father, like daughter. They say the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. Ooh, the Rosalba Neri rub.
How simply marvelous. After the break, we'll see what happens when a less successful experiment of the Frankensteins comes knocking on the laboratory door. Dare you handle the grotesque horror? Well, let's face it, if you can't, you're a bit of a wuss. So see you after the break, you chillin' thrill seekers. I'll show you scenes from my favorite Japanese monster movie, as well as Vengeance of the Zombies. Welcome back to the season finale of Max's Midnight Movies. Tonight we're going out in style with a special Igor Awards edition, honoring some of the plays and players who have made this series so special. On that note, let's take a look at the final short scene from Lady Frankenstein, starring Igor Award winner Rosalba Neri.
We left Lady Frankenstein just as she had successfully transplanted the brain of the homely but intelligent Charles into the skull of the handsome but simple-minded stable boy. But now the Frankenstein family's chickens are all coming home to roost. This particular chicken is a monster created by Tanya Frankenstein's deceased father, Baron Frankenstein. Like all good Frankenstein's monsters, he eventually comes home to sort things out and get some closure for himself by wasting everyone.
It doesn't have to kill him. We can show the world that my father didn't fail, that he wasn't insane. Think of us, Charles. The power, the fame.
No, I must kill it.
Yes, you're right. Kill it.
Why did you change your mind, Tanya? Because you know that no matter which of us survives, you still win? You do know. You've always known.
Meanwhile, outside, as if that wasn't bad enough, the peasants are revolting. I mean, even more than usual. But it's a good night for everyone in the village by the looks of it.
Poor Lady Frankenstein eventually comes to a sticky end. Now, we dedicated an entire episode to Japanese kaiju, or monster cinema. Here's the strangest of the strange. It's the fifth in a series starring Gamera, the giant flying turtle. Let's take a look at 1969's Attack of the Monsters.
In Attack of the Monsters, an American and Japanese Boy Scout hitch a ride on a UFO which takes them to another planet.
Now concentrate
It's
again.
deserted except for some monsters and two tinfoil-wearing geisha girl-type alien chicks. said geisha girl-type alien chicks have hypnotized the kids and are now questioning them.
This creature's looking for you, you said? Think. Remember it. Try.
Gamera's the friend of children.
The friend of children?
Now, in case it's not obvious, this flashback actually uses footage from an earlier Gamera film. In this case, 1965's Gamera the Invincible. Child-eating monster, eh? I suppose you could say monsters in these films were sharply divided into two categories. Those who were friends of children and wanted to protect them, and those who wanted to sprinkle them with salt and pepper, tenderize them, and have them with a side of kittens. Come on, Gamera. But Gamera's still got a few tricks under his turtle shell. For example, Gamera's rolling pine cone technique. And the incredible CGI'd laser beam. Now, Gamera is friend to all children, as we mentioned before, so here, little buddy, sit tight. Oh, yeah. Gamera has jet propulsion packs. He weighs 5,500 tons, but can reach airspeeds of Mach 3.
He saved 2 boys, too, when Virus attacked the Earth.
Okay, now this flashback comes from another kaiju movie, 1968's Gamera vs. Virus. In fact, it wasn't unusual for kaiju monster films to be like half made up of scenes from earlier movies, which is stretching a friendship a bit, don't you think? Okay, Boy Scout dude, I totally didn't understand a word, but I'll get you to safety, because that's like how I roll. I'm Gamera, the friend of children, and in a completely non-weird or threatening way. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I have just 2 questions, really. How did these movies ever get made in the first place, and why did they ever stop making them?
You know, that's strange.
I'll say.
I'm sure I remember you stopped moving. I had a feeling I ate a lot of Mother's donuts. Your mother sure makes donuts real great. I'm starving. Just the thought of it. I'm not hungry, just thirsty.
Now, these splendidly dressed alien gals have, of course, only been pretending to be the boys' friends. In fact, they have other plans for our intrepid young troublemaking heroes, with their giant lizard friend and their cravings for donuts. But stay, listen in on this.
Use sleeping powder. Sleeping? Right. And when they're unconscious, under the effects of our powder, we'll gobble their brains raw. Eat their brains? All the knowledge that has been handed down is stored now in their complicated brain cells. And so, if we eat their brains, that knowledge will help us to adapt. We can accomplish it, just as our bacteria do here, to become higher animals. I understand, yes.
Whoa. Not too often that you see cute alien villains in a children's movie want to eat the children's brains for supper. But then, the creepy alien ladies and their monster sidekick are no match for the 2 Boy Scouts and their pet, the giant flying turtle, as this very exciting sequence demonstrates admirably.
Attack of the Monsters takes away the prestigious Igor Award for strangest children's movie starring a flying turtle and lady cannibals. What an honor. And now, midnight movie lovers, the clock is really ticking on Max's midnight movies. So let's just take a moment to reprise some of the golden moments in zombie cinema. Starting with the 1973 strange Spanish flick, Vengeance of the Zombies.
In this bizarre zombie horror film, a masked man rampages around England killing unsuspecting women. Each time a victim is murdered, they are brought back to life by an East Indian mystic so that they can join his army of zombies. Confused? You will be if you think about it too hard. So just sit back and enjoy the ride. Anyway, yes, this is lunchtime in the morgue, apparently. The condemned man's last meal is a cheese sandwich, though he doesn't know he's condemned yet, of course. Just wait and see how the zombies find an alternative use for that soft drink can. If you're very observant, you might have noticed that he's reading a Spanish newspaper when this gripping saga is meant to be set in swinging London. Great place for zombies to hide out, isn't it? A morgue, I mean. They're all a bit dead in here already. She seems very lackluster even for The Walking Dead, and he's not exactly putting up much of a fight. Oh, some dead girl just attacked me with my energy drink. Oh well, lunch break was just about over anyway. And they've got company. This is the aforementioned wandering murderer. Under the hideous mask is Paul Naschy, Spain's so-called El Rey de Terror, King of Terror. Naschy not only wrote this masterpiece, he also plays 3 different roles: Satan himself, the aforementioned Indian mystic, and his horribly deformed brother, who is the geezer we see here with the Gladstone bag and the voodoo doll. Spooky. Spooky. Flammable jam. Something rising under the covers. Look! Another zombie. Will anyone who is not one of the living dead please just stay exactly where you are? And everyone else, rise up from your stretcher bed now and get it over with so we know who is who. Thanks. Don't know about the makeup job. Odd film this. Wrong in every way. But then again, so wrong, it's right. Moves at the speed of continental drift at some points. A virtual blaze of ultraviolence the next. Hey, don't litter. And here comes the V for Vendetta guy, just to check up on him and make sure he's all nice and dead.
I know what you're thinking. That we're making these categories up as we go along as an excuse to play some of my personal favorites. Perhaps. But what about the next Igor for the best worst director of all time?
And it's my guess that she'll look like him. With the ship and the ray gun gone, they have no control.
Directed, of course, by Edward D. Wood Jr., better known simply as Ed Wood.
They're far ahead of us.
Forget flying saucers, mate. This is more like a flaming pancake. Yep, participation is everything.
My friend, you have seen this incident based on sworn testimony. Can you prove that it didn't happen? Perhaps on your way home, someone will pass you in the dark, and you will never know it, for they will be from outer space. Many scientists believe that another world is watching us this moment. We once laughed at the horseless carriage, the airplane, the telephone, the electric light, vitamins, radio, and even television. And now some of us laugh at outer space.
Laugh at outer space, eh? Well, I'm sure he thinks he knows what he means anyway.
God
what a
help
crazy and wonderful flamer he was. That's all I can say.
And there you have it. What a fitting way to end the episode with the final scene of Plan 9 from Outer Space. And the Igor Award for Best Director goes to Ed Wood, who also picked up a Lifetime Achievement Award. Goodbye for now, darlings. We hope you've enjoyed the series as much as we've enjoyed making it, but all good things must come to an end, or at least go into reruns. So for now, may all your days be Halloween, and may all your alien encounters be close ones. Goodbye, darlings.